Its manifestation can occur simultaneously in all directions along the Antarctic ice wall perimeter. The sun is not a tangible physical object, but rather it's an optical conical focal point source of electromagnetic radiation. The sun that we see in the sky is a hologrammatic projection of the true black hole sun that is emanating from the central vortex of creation. Cosmic invisible electromagnetic energy originates from the central vortex, interacting with the inner boundary of the toroidal field. And upon contact, a prismatic conical refraction of this energy takes place, resulting in the bifurcation of positive and negative polarities that manifests into the sun and the moon. This perspective presents the sun as an apparent phenomenon rather than a physical object. So as this cosmic energy from the black sun encounters the dome where Polaris is, it is refracted back to the respective focal points. And the focal points are situated within the helium-based ethereal superfluid, and it's generating the sun, rendering visible light that we see. So the light facilitating this phenomena originates with the invisible spectrum that we cannot see with our naked eye, emanating from the center vortex. Meanwhile, the sun's apparent position in the sky is perceived with the visible electromagnetic spectrum that we see, emerging as a convergence of this unseen refracted energy into a visible form of light. Now, the multiple circles are necessary, and the multiple domes allow you to visualize and understand the many perspectives that actually exist at any given moment outside of what we personally see every day living in just one spot. So you have to expand your consciousness here. Every single person has a vision of the sun's movement over time, and they are all different depending on your location. So realistically speaking, there are billions of these domes all over the world. So as celestial objects are rising for one person, they are concurrently setting for another person at different longitudes at the same time. Now, each of the zones around the Antarctic ice wall correspond to certain time zone segments, collectively encompassing the full 24-hour cycle of one day. And the small domes symbolize the individual azimuthal grid view perceived through human vision. This perceptual mechanism effectively condenses the expansive celestial panorama into a personalized perspective, presenting a diminished dome-like representation of the overarching celestial movements. This is how we all see celestial objects move across the sky for us. This underscores the interplay between the vastness of the cosmic celestial motions and the subjective interpretation that is facilitated by the limitations of human sensory perception. In reality, these celestial domes literally reflects our visual experience on the surface of Earth's flat plane. The outer edge of the many domes at the nadiral position represents the horizon all around 360 degrees, which is the furthest visual boundary where the sky and the ground converge. Beyond that limit, nothing is visible. The horizon forms a hyperbolic curve of our vision. This curvature creates a localized celestial sphere, which is tethered to the observer's viewable personal arc of horizon. And it's always adjusting with our movement, and it moves in tandem with our location as we travel. Now, in Antarctica, the solar cycle is marked by one singular sunrise and one sunset each year. The sun ascends above the horizon around the autumnal equinox, typically September 21st, and descends around the vernal equinox, March 21st. The rising signifies the arrival of the austral summer, which is the summer season in regions that are south of the equator. So the austral summer for the south starts around September 21st. The summer reaches its peak on the solstice, December 21st, before gradually receding by approximately March 21st. To provide context, I'll be incorporating a stitched segment from a video I posted a few days ago featuring authentic time-lapse footage from a buddy that was stationed at the South Pole. This footage that was taken in 2023 predates the final experiment and offers rare glimpses into the solar cycle of Antarctica's southernmost station. So this footage will showcase the sun's behavior at various times of the day and night, offering valuable reference points for understanding its apparent motion in the unique Antarctic environment. This is what it looks like at the South Pole.
This is the South Pole Station. That is the moon, not the sun. All right. All right, this is what it looks like at the South Pole on 5 September 2023. The sun is coming up. We're expecting the sun to breach the horizon on 21 September. So this is what twilight looks like here. You can just barely see with the amount of light that we have. This is the South Pole Station right here. Winter is coming to a close. So there's the elevated station. Here we are at the geographic South Pole. Absolutely incredible. Sunrise, September 18th, 2023. Sunrise will be in just about 3 days on the 21st. And just look at this view.
firmament operates as a crystalline superfluid medium with its reflecting properties resulting from the interplay of atmospheric moisture, pressure, and the phenomena of anti-rotational parabolic mirroring reflections. This effect becomes particularly pronounced within the southern zones all around the perimeter of the Antarctic ice wall, where the projected source light of the sun traverses these zones. As the light reaches the Tropic of Capricorn during the austral summer, distinct anti-rotational patterns emerge across the adjacent zones, resembling a kaleidoscopic effect, allowing all the observers around the ice wall to simultaneously witness the sun rotating around their arc of horizon non-stop continuously. Each zone represents a distinct temporal perspective. For instance, while one zone may correspond to 6 a.m. in the morning, another zone corresponds to 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and another zone is 10 o'clock in the evening, and another zone is 1:30 a.m. in the morning, and there's in-between zones in between. All the while, the sun remains visibly high in the sky concurrently for all of these zones and in-between zones for multiple days simultaneously at the same time for all of those observers. This variance is due to the sun's reflected holographic projective nature at different longitudinal points along each observer's personal arc of horizon. Consequently, the sun's apparent position will shift relative to the observer's location within their respective zone, demonstrating the interplay between time, longitude, and the celestial dome's projection on a flat plane. The definition of anti-arc underpins this phenomenon. The apparent counter-rotation of the luminaries is the basis for the term Antarctica, signifying the anti-rotation of the Arctic's northern rotation. Anti-arc, Antarctica. However, this motion is not literally counter-directional. The luminaries continue their movement in a unified direction. The anti-arc effect is an illusionary perceptual symptom that is influenced by the way that celestial light is presented to the observers in the south by the reflection of the dome coming from the black sun's refraction. Within each of these adjacent zones, magnetic fields generate what can be described as anti-zones. Observers positioned in southern regions, looking in any direction toward these zones, perceive an anti-motion of the luminaries above them, in contrast to the rotational patterns that are visible in the north. So, within these various geographical southern zones, the source light traverses the firmament, inducing anti-rotational motion in those segments that are relative to the observer's position along the outer perimeter of the Antarctic ice wall. Again, these anti-rotations are in contrast to the central rotation, which is a consequence of the firmament's super-reflective crystalline structure that generates this optical effect on the projected sun. The firmament dome's refractive properties will distribute light uniformly across all of the observer's arc of horizon, allowing the sun's presence to be perceived 24 hours a day for multiple days, regardless of its actual geographic location. And this reinforces the concept of the sun as an apparent optical reflection, rather than a tangible physical object where the visibility is actually dictated by the interplay of light, atmospheric conditions, and the superfluid nature of the reflective crystalline firmament. For observers positioned sufficiently south anywhere on the Antarctic ice wall, this intensified anti-rotational dynamic culminates in the phenomena of the geocentric 24-hour circling sun on a flat dielectric inertial plane surface.